Reports coming in are that President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for the pandemic. Donald Trump's positive test result comes just hours after the White House made an announcement that Hope Hicks, who is the senior aide, had come down with the pandemic after traveling with the president multiple times this week. Mr. Trump was last seen by reporters returning to the White House on Thursday evening, and he seemed to be in excellent health. Donald Trump, who is currently 74 years old, is at a higher risk of serious complications from the pandemic, which has now taken the lives of 200,000 persons in the United States. Donald Trump had sent out a tweet which stated that he had tested positive for the pandemic. He also mentioned that he and Melania would begin their quarantine and recovery process immediately, and that they would get through this together. Mr. Trump announced late Thursday that he and First Lady Melania Trump were beginning a quarantine process after Hope Hicks came down with the pandemic, although it was not clear what that had entailed. It can take a number of days for the pandemic to become detectable using a test. Therefore, this diagnosis marks a low point for the president, who has been trying desperately to convince the American public that the worst of the pandemic is currently behind them, even as the number of cases continue to rise daily, and with less than 4 weeks before the November 2020 U.S. Election Day. As it currently stands, this pandemic is the most serious known public health scare that has been encountered by any American president in recent history. Symptoms of the pandemic can include fever, coughing, and breathing trouble. Most persons develop only mild symptoms, but some persons, usually those with other medical complications, tend to develop more severe symptoms, which include pneumonia, which can be fatal. Globally, many persons are reacting with shock, sympathy, and criticism to the announcement that President Donald Trump has tested positive for the pandemic. Reports that the world's most powerful man, Mr. Donald Trump, has tested positive for the world's most notorious pandemic drew instant reactions of shock, sympathy, undisguised glee, and of course the ever-present outrage and curiosity surrounding everything that is affiliated with President Donald Trump. He made the announcement on Friday morning via Twitter that he and his wife, Melania Trump, had tested positive for the pandemic, and the deep uncertainty that accompanied it flashed across many screens in the United States. There are countless plans that have had to be put aside, and many have made their comments about the president's test results. And many persons have also made their comments about actions that were taken prior to this announcement. Positive test result from the leader of the world's largest economy only adds more uncertainty to investors' worries, especially in regards to its effect on the November 3rd elections between the Republican president and Democrat Joe Biden. U.S. stock futures and most of the world markets fell right after the news broke, and also there was a decline in the price of oil. World leaders were quick to give their opinion, with official sympathy coming from the top and something approaching Freude elsewhere. Donald Trump joins a growing list of the most powerful persons who have tested positive for the pandemic, and this has given many persons some sentiment that this is real, because before now they were skeptical about the pandemic. Russian President Vladimir Putin sent a message to Trump. This stated, "I hope that your inherent vitality, good spirits, and optimism will help you to cope with the dangerous pandemic." Matteo Salvini also sent a message to Donald Trump, and this is what it said. "Italian in the world, whoever celebrates the illness of a man or of a woman and who comes to wish the passing of a neighbor confirms what he is. A person without a soul. A hug to Melania and Donald." According to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who was recently hospitalized for a week in April after he also tested positive for the pandemic, he wished Donald Trump a speedy recovery. Dr. Bharat Pankania, who advises Johnson's government on communicable disease control, also mentioned that he hopes that this positive test result for Mr. Trump sends a message to the president and other world leaders. We need politicians, especially politicians like President Donald Trump, who has a lot of power and influence, to take this seriously and to support their scientists and clinicians in leading the outbreak management, rather than have political influence in trying to deny that this pandemic is in circulation, and to drag their feet around control measures because it suited their agenda. Tokyo Gov. Yoriko Koike, speaking at a weekly news conference, did not mention Trump's reluctance to wear masks when asked about the pandemic. She said that the news reminded her of how widely masks are worn in Japan. Major media across the globe have also played up the announcement with bulletins crawling across TV screens in Seoul, Tokyo, Taipei, Dubai, and Beijing. To say this potentially could be a big deal is an understatement. Anyway, everything now takes a backseat to the latest incredible twist in the U.S. election campaign. Zhuangzhou News Agency also stated that an anchor made the announcement there was no immediate comment from the government as of Friday, the second day of an 8-day national holiday celebrations. The positive test result for Mr. Trump and his wife was the most searched topic in China on the widely used social media app, few hours after the announcement was made, and comments from some persons on social media and other persons are very caustic. And of course, some persons have expressed zero sympathy after hearing the announcement of the president's positive test results. Of course, this pandemic is very serious, and we all need to take it serious, and we all need to exercise all the necessary precautions in ensuring that we remain safe and negative for the pandemic. Of course, we wish President Trump and his wife the best. We hope that they will recover speedily and in time to contest the November 2020 U.S. general elections. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think about the positive test result that was announced for President Trump and Melania Trump recently. Let me know what you think about the comments that have been made by persons in top positions across the world, and also what has been stated across social media. Tell me what you think about the sympathy, the criticism, and the shock that has come from many persons who are reacting to the announcement that President Trump and Melania Trump have tested positive for the pandemic. Remember to wear your mask, and of course, remember to practice good personal hygiene. Wash your hands at all times as long as water is available. And also remember to use your hand sanitizers if you are not in a position to wash your hand with water and soap.